Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So as you can tell from the title of this video, this is going to be my top 10 favorite products from Tarte Cosmetics. Because for those of you who don't know, Tarte is without a doubt my favorite makeup brand. They've been my favorite for probably the past couple years or so. I am just obsessed with Tarte. And I feel like everyone who knows me knows my obsession for Tarte is seriously real because I just love the brand. Basically, Tarte was created back in 1999 by a woman named Maureen Kelly, and she basically created them because she wasn't impressed with the ingredients she was seeing in a lot of the makeup brands out there. She wasn't impressed with the chemicals and all the gross stuff that just was going into her products and being applied on her face every single day. She said that the more natural kind of good for you brands that she could find weren't very chic, they weren't cute, they didn't have nice packaging, they just looked kind of ugly basically. She created Tarte to fill a really big gap in the market, and she came up with this amazing cosmetic line that is not only adorably packaged in kind of more environmentally friendly style packaging, but it also is loaded with really great ingredients for your skin and just ingredients that are better for you in general. Also really good if you have sensitivities to chemical ingredients or anything like that. They also have a very wide variety of vegan products. If you look on any of Tarte's product packaging, you will see formulated without parabens, mineral oil, phthalates, triclosan or triclosan, I'm not sure how to pronounce that properly, sodium lauryl sulfate, and gluten. Personally, I'm not someone who goes out of my way to avoid certain ingredients like that and things, but I do prefer more natural products. So anywhere I can go a little bit more natural with the products I'm putting on my face and my body, I'm very happy to do so because they just tend to work better for me. And that's another big reason that I love Tarte is their products. It actually says high performance naturals on here. It says that on all their products, that's kind of their slogan, but they do just perform really well for me, especially their complexion products. And Tarte's definitely a brand that I find is known for their complexion products. When you think Tarte, you probably think Amazonian Clay foundation or their Amazonian Clay blushes. So a lot of the products in this video are going to be very complexion based because of that. Like I said, they work really well for my skin, and that's kind of what Tarte is known for, I find. They're really starting to branch out now. They have a really solid permanent eyeshadow palette. They just came out with a really cool liquid liner. They're definitely branching out and expanding, but I think that's really where Tarte shines, is in their complexion and face products. So I think for my products, I'm going to start kind of in the order, I'm going to start with primer and face products and then go into eyes and things like that. But I want to throw in that this video isn't going to be in any specific order for the favorites, and this also isn't all the products I love from Tarte. I have many more products in my collection from the brand that I really love, but this is just kind of my top 10. I narrowed it down to 10, which is still a lot, but what can I say? I really like the brand and what they stand for. So let's get started. As you may have noticed, I have my products here behind me, and I'm going to kind of start from the bottom up when it comes to applying your makeup. So the very first thing I want to talk about is their sunscreen. Sunscreen is so important. I cannot stress that enough. It is the key to aging well and also preventing skin cancer, of course. But as I have said in the past, for more vain purposes, the sun does age you. And I mean, we all want to age gracefully. We all want our skin to look like we are 18 years old for the rest of our lives, let's face it. So it's very important that you are getting sunscreen on your face on a daily basis, you guys. It's so important. And that's another thing I love about Tarte. A lot of their other products, their face products and everything, do incorporate an SPF in them. In Canada, we have regulations where they can't always list the SPF, but their foundations and their primer and everything that I'm going to be talking about do have SPF as well. But I haven't even told you guys what the product is. This is the Tarte Guard SPF 30. This is a sunscreen that they came out with pretty much at the beginning of summer this past year, and I was so excited when I found out they were coming out with a sunscreen because it is, of course, a more natural sunscreen, and it is 100% physical sunscreen. Physical sunscreen is a lot better for your skin. It is what causes that kind of flashback in flash photography and the white cast that you see, so you have to be a little bit careful if you're going to be using this. But this product is amazing, especially if you have sensitivities to sunscreen on your face. I use this on my face every day, and I also will bring it down on my neck and décolleté area where my skin is most sensitive if I'm going to be outside or wearing anything lower cut than a sweater. I love the texture of it. A lot of sunscreens are very drying just because of the ingredients that make up the sunscreen tend to dry out your skin, but they have added lots of hydrating ingredients to this, like their maracuja oil. So a lot of times I will use this on its own in the morning. If you have drier skin, you'll probably still want to add a moisturizer. But the texture of this is really nice. It is a thinner texture. It does start off a little bit oily, but it does kind of disappear into your skin after a few minutes or so. I have no problems wearing it underneath makeup. It doesn't make my makeup break up or make my face greasy at all throughout the day. And it also doesn't have an SPF scent as well. So if you are looking for a great facial sunscreen, I highly recommend picking this up. Next up we have primer, and for those of you who've been around my channel for a while, some of these are probably going to be fairly repetitive to you because I've talked about quite a few of these products a lot. So you guys really know that I do truly like them. But this is the Tarte BB Tinted Treatment 12-Hour Primer. It says that this is a 12-hour primer, buildable coverage, oil-free moisturizer, it's pore minimizing and also skin brightening. This is a lightly tinted primer. I believe it comes in 6 shades, and I have the shade Fair, which is the lightest. I love this stuff so much because it is tinted. It gives a nice little extra layer of coverage for your skin, which, as you guys know, I have acne and acne scarring, so I really appreciate that little kind of like oomph that it adds to the coverage of my foundation. It does, of course, prolong the wear of my makeup as well. The one thing with this is that I find it will cling to dry skin, so if you have a drier skin type, you might not love this, especially if you want to wear it on your own. Some people wear it as just like a BB cream. It does kind of cling to dry patches. I apply my foundation over top of it after anyways, and I find that kind of gets rid of that issue. But it's just something to keep in mind. I also really like wearing this on days when I'm just wearing mineral powder because I feel like it just, once again, kind of just like amps up my coverage just a tiny bit and evens out any redness. And I feel like it also will give like a mineral powder something to cling on to. You know, as opposed to applying a mineral powder just on like bare skin or on top of another primer, this really gives it something to kind of lock onto. Next up, of course, none of you guys are going to be surprised that I am including this in this video. It is my holy grail foundation, like my favorite of all time, best foundation I've tried. It is the Amazonian Clay 12-Hour Full Coverage Foundation. I wear the shade Ivory. It just says 12-hour makeup, oil-free on the back. And this is just truly a really great full coverage foundation. It really looks natural on the skin. What I do is I take a brush and I buff it into the skin. A lot of people always tell me not to buff my foundation. I like buffing it in with this too. It also just helps to kind of take down the heaviness that it can have and make it look more natural. So I like buffing it. When I worked for Sephora, buffing it into the skin is how our Tarte rep taught us to apply it. So I'm listening to the way she taught me to apply it personally because it works really well for me, and I really like the finished look. But yeah, it just really covers everything. It's also a really good full coverage foundation that will work for every skin type. Like, it tends to work really well for dry skin as well as super oily skin, like for me personally. I have a friend who has acne as well, but she has extremely dry skin and she loves this as well. So it's not just for oily skin. It's just a solid product. It provides me with amazing wear. It doesn't break up or separate. It doesn't settle. It doesn't do anything weird. It just stays looking flawless all day. And I have both of these products on today, by the way. I kind of tried to use as many Tarte products as I could. So I have this, the primer, and the powder, which is my next product. So the next thing is the Tarte Amazonian Clay Full Coverage Airbrush Foundation. I always forget the name of this because it's so long. So this bad boy right here is Tarte's Mineral Powder. I just love the packaging of this with the kind of bamboo lid. You open it up and it has really cool packaging. It has like a little thin layer of mesh in between there to kind of act as a stopper, and then kind of a little knob in the lid there too, so it's not getting really messy if you throw it in your makeup bag or anything like that. And this is a lovely product to set your foundation with or to wear on its own as well. It's very, very creamy for a mineral powder, and it does give you very good coverage as well. It's quite buildable. They do call it a full coverage powder. I probably wouldn't consider it full coverage. Like, I find there are some other mineral products that I can get better coverage from, but the reason I like this is because, like I said, it's so creamy on the skin, and it's one of those like magical products that somehow gets better looking the longer you have it on. I don't know why, but like, you apply it and yeah, it looks good, but then like a few hours later it looks even better. I wear the shade Fair Honey, which says fair skin with peach undertones. Now, when you swatch this, there is a very fine shimmer in it. Don't be frightened by that. It does not translate to the skin at all and make you look shimmery. It's not at all. It just ends up looking very natural with like a nice soft glow. Once again, like I said, this is what I use to set my foundation today. So my whole complexion right now, aside from like blush and everything, is Tarte. My skin has definitely been freaking out lately, so if there are products that can get my skin looking this good and smooth and even, I am on board. So once again, another big favorite for me. Favorite number 5 is something that I have not had for very long, but in the short time I've had it, it has really blown me away. I've really fallen in love with it, and it is a product that nobody ever talks about. It's very underrated, and it is the Clean Slate 360 Degree Creaseless 12-Hour Smoothing Eye Primer. I love the packaging of this. I think it's so cute, first of all. This is Tarte's eye primer. I'm sure a lot of you guys didn't even know Tarte had just like a plain eye primer. When I worked at Sephora, one of my coworkers loved this stuff. She always raved about it and made like everybody try it. and it is with good reason. What I like about this is the texture of it. It's very thin and lightweight. More recently, I was trying the Lorac Behind the Scenes Pro, or whatever it's called, Lorac's eye primer, and it was so thick and sticky. It felt so gross on my fingers and on my lids, and it just dried weird. I really didn't end up liking it. So switching to this was really nice because it's just like a really thin consistency for an eye primer. Like, it's a lot thinner than even like the NARS Smudge Proof Eyeshadow Base or like the Too Faced Shadow Insurance. It's way thinner than either one of those, and it has kind of like a slight like pearlescent kind of effect to it, like really subtle, that just kind of brightens up your lids and in turn makes your eyeshadows more vibrant. Even if you're wearing matte shadows, don't worry, it's not like shimmery, it doesn't affect that or anything. It just really brightens up your eyes just very subtly and makes your shadows really pop and stand out. Once again, what I used today, and I'm in love with it. I do have oily lids as well, not like overly oily, but they do get a little bit shiny throughout the day, and this does prevent creasing like it says in the name as well. So if you are looking from something different than the standard Urban Decay primer potion and things like that, I'd really recommend checking this out. It's kind of like a hidden gem in Tarte's line. The next couple of products, of course, are blushes. If you guys know me, you know that blush is like my jam. I'm obsessed. Like, there are no words. I'm just like, I'm so addicted to blush, you guys. It's bad. I need help. Naturally, favorites number 6 and 7 are blushes, and I have mentioned both of these recently in videos, but I want to throw them in again because these are not just favorites from Tarte, but they're favorite blushes in general, like favorite blushes of all time kind of category. And the first one is Glisten. These are called the Amazonian Clay 12-Hour Blush. Really long wearing, as the name implies. And this one, like I said, is Glisten, which I just mentioned in a favorites video recently, but it is just that perfect peachy pink, and as I've mentioned, it has like this really soft gold shimmer throughout it, like really insanely fine. It doesn't look like chunky glitter at all, and it's just that perfect blush to just like impart the most beautiful glow on your skin. These blushes are kind of harder, I think, because of the clay in the formula, so they're kind of hard to swatch. They're actually more pigmented when you apply them, but that is what it looks like there. As you can see, that sheen on it is just stunning. It's not glittery at all, it's just a glow. This is a blush that you can definitely get away with skipping a highlight when you are wearing it. It is just stunning, especially for summertime. And then number 7, which is my second blush, is Exposed, which I also just mentioned in the fall favorites tag. My camera just randomly cut off there, so I don't know if I got this, but this blush is called Exposed, and it is just that perfect mauve nude neutral kind of blush. It's amazing for fair skin, you guys. Like, if you have a similar complexion to me, you really need this blush in your life. Yeah, I can't get it to swatch. Like, these blushes just like are not good to swatch, but then they're so pigmented on the cheeks, like it makes no sense. There you go, you can kind of see it there. I mentioned in the fall favorites tag that this is basically just like the perfect neutral blush for fair skin because it adds that slight kind of just little bit of warmth to your skin to keep you from looking dead. Like, I know some girls can get away with like just like popping on bronzer and they look amazing. If I do that, I look so washed out and so bad, and even if I wear like a more like brown beige kind of blush, it looks really bad on me. So I'm really happy that Tarte has such a wonderful neutral blush that actually suits my skin tone. And you could probably use this for like a slight kind of like subtle contouring effect too. Like, if you just kind of like applied it and like brought it down a little bit lower than usually would, just like a tiny bit, it would give like a nice kind of definition to the cheekbones as well. Next up, I have a bronzer that I have actually never talked about on my YouTube channel, surprisingly, and it's probably because I haven't used it that much over the past little while. Like, I was obsessed with this bronzer probably like a few years ago now. I used to wear it every single day for a very long time. I actually had like a smaller sample size of it before and I completely used that up. And then this is the full size, which I repurchased. And I'm talking about their Park Ave Princess bronzer. Now they have this one, which is a shimmery version, but then they also have a Park Ave Princess that is matte. So if that's more your speed, they do have a matte version as well. There it is swatched. It is a very warm, kind of almost red toned bronzer, which you think might not be that flattering on my skin tone, but it just works for some reason. It looks very nice for just kind of like a general bronze, just on the perimeters of your face. And the shimmer's quite subtle too. Once again, it's not like a chunky glitter at all. It's kind of the same effect as Glisten blush there, just kind of gives that nice kind of sheen. And it just adds a really nice warmth and glow, and it looks very natural on, and you can use it to do some kind of fake contouring, as I like to call it, and add a little bit of definition, even though it does have a sheen, if you just want that really like bronze, warm, kind of glowy complexion. It's a very pretty shade. So then for number 9, this is technically 2 products. I'm counting it as one though because they are so insanely similar. They're like essentially the same product. And that is Tarte's matte eyeshadows. Now I have the Tarte lip palette, which I'm sure all of you guys have seen, but then I also have the Be Magnificent palette. This was limited edition just about 2 years ago now. Like it came out 2 winters ago. And I'm including both of these because the Be Magnificent is kind of like a smaller version of the Tarte lip palette. Let me open these both up so you guys can see and compare. These both have very reflective packaging, so I'm going to try not to blind you guys, but as you can see, they're very similar. They are both 100% matte and you get a lot of very similar shades in them. But if you have been subscribed to my channel from the very beginning, then you may remember that I used to rave about this all the time because I tried this and I fell in love with it. First of all, packaging on both of these is like flawless, as I show you guys the wrong side. Flawless, flawless packaging. They're beautiful. I love this one. This palette made me fall in love with Tarte's eyeshadows and really fall in love with Tarte as a brand when they came out with this. It is just kind of like those mauve-y, kind of purpley and plum, rosy kind of matte shades, just very similar to the Tarte lip. You also do get a blush and then a black and a dark brown, which you can use as liners in here. So the Tarte lip palette is basically just a bigger extension of that, but I just love these shadows. They're honestly the best matte shadows I have ever tried. They're so easy to blend. They're so foolproof basically. Like even if you like applied your shadow really badly, like say you're applying black shadow and you got like a big glob of it like stuck on your eye and it was totally uneven, you can go in and blend it out and it will honestly like blend out so flawlessly and so easily. They're so smooth. Some of them can be a little bit chalky, but like I don't find them that chalky at all. I know some people have said they're kind of chalky, but I don't know, I have no issues with them. I have like a really basic blended eye tutorial using this palette, so I will have that linked if you're interested in checking it out. I am just blown away by the quality of these always. Even though I've had this for like 2 years, I've had the Tarte lip palette for almost a year since it came out last like December or whenever, and I'm just consistently blown away. I reach for this palette every single day. You guys know, for that Force of Nature shade that I use for every single look as my transition. These are just like my ride or die palettes, you guys. I cannot recommend them to you guys enough. So my very final product, which is number 10, I unfortunately cannot find it. I have no idea where it is. It's around here somewhere. I looked so hard and I just cannot find it, but it is their Smooth Operator Setting Powder. They have a loose version and a pressed version as well. I have the loose version personally. The loose one, if I remember correctly, is meant to be more like really mattifying, and then the pressed one is meant to be a little bit more natural. It has kind of, once again, that soft shimmer that the mineral powder has, but it still controls oil really well, and they are just translucent. They're totally white, and they're meant to be oil controlling powders. So they're very heavily Amazonian clay based to just absorb any excess oil and kind of purify the skin, and the powder is one of the best things I have found in the summertime for mattifying and controlling oil. If you are a super oily skin person or you live in like a really hot climate, they are amazing powders. If I could find mine, mine's actually in the old packaging because I had it quite a while ago. It's not a product I reach for as much lately. I'm thinking about getting the pressed version because, like I said, that's a more natural finish, which is kind of like what I go for more nowadays. They are amazing. If you need a powder that is really going to like lock in your makeup and keep it in place if you have oily skin, they are incredible. And they also, I find, they kind of help, like when you're getting oily, if your makeup starts to separate, they kind of help to kind of smooth everything back out and make everything look freshly applied again. So they're great to apply in the morning when you do your makeup, but then they're also great products to have on the go to kind of touch up with. And they are white powders, like I said, but compared to some other brands I've used that have like white mattifying powders, like Urban Decay De-Slick, for example, these ones don't leave a white cast on your skin. You can even apply them if you have a slightly darker complexion, and they won't make you look ashy or give you that white cast. So that is really nice as well. If you are not super fair like I am, they are still a good option for you. So yeah, that was my top 10 from Tarte Cosmetics. This video is going to be super long, so thank you guys so much if you stayed with me till the very end. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you did. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think of Tarte, if you have any favorites from them, if you've never tried them. If you hate them, let me know your opinion down below in the comments. I'm very interested to hear what you guys think. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel as well, and if you have any other video requests, please leave them down below as well. I don't know if I have another brand that I could do a like top 10 favorites. Maybe I can do like top 5, so if there's any brands you want to see, comment down below and let me know. Yeah, once again, thank you so much for watching. I will see you all in my next video. Bye guys.